the nominees for Best Motion Picture of the Year.
The Best Picture Oscar contenders this year include epics from Christopher Nolan and Martin Scorsese, Greta Gerwig's Barbie, and Yorgos Lanthimos' dazzling fable Poor Things. But are they any good? Here's a roundup of this year's contenders for Best Picture as reviewed by Kyle Smith, the Wall Street Journal's film critic.
American Fiction. Ben LeClaire, Nikos Paramigos, Cord Jefferson, and Jermaine Johnson, producers.
Hello?
Hello, Paula.
Arthur, so wonderful to hear from you. I hope that you are with the man of the hour.
I am indeed. He's right here next to me.
Mr. Lee?
Yeah, this is he.
Oh, really?
Yeah, God damn it. Motherfucker.
Right, okay. Yeah, I was a little confused at first, but...
In 1963, Ralph Ellison said of the critic Irving Howe that when he sees a Negro, he sees not a human being, but an abstract embodiment of living hell, and asked, why is it that so many of those who would tell us the meaning of Negro life never bother to learn how varied it really is? Kyle writes that that line could serve as the epigraph for American Fiction.
If they want stereotypes, I'll give them one.
What is this?
Deadbeat dads, rappers, crack, and splack, right?
Nobody's gonna publish this.
Just want to rub their noses in it.
We love it.
What?
It is very,
Black?
Yes, that's it. I'm happy you said it and not me.
American Fiction is an unusually thoughtful dramedy about the frustrations and dilemmas of a slightly worn-down black English professor and novelist by the name of Thelonious Monk Ellison, impeccably played by Jeffrey Wright.
We sold the movie rights.
Yes!
We think it is going to be a bestseller.
I'm sure white people on the Hamptons will delight in it.
Yeah, we will. It's going to be huge.
Anatomy of a Fall. Marie-Ange Luciani and David Thion.
I just want you to know one thing. I'm not a monster.
A boy with severely impaired eyesight returns home from a walk with his dog to discover his father dead in the snow with a severe head wound. Did he fall? Did he jump? Or was he pushed?
I did not kill him.
That's not the point.
Anatomy of a Fall, writes Kyle, is structurally a fairly standard did she or didn't she courtroom procedural, centred on a novelist married to a professor whose gruesome sudden death sets events in motion.
You complain about the life that you chose. You're not a victim. Not at all.
Be fair. I'm a man who's been cheated on. I can't stand anymore. I'm fighting.
The boy's difficulty in seeing mirrors his mother's difficulty in communicating. Being German and married to a Frenchman living in the French Alps, she sometimes struggles to find the right word in French. And these barriers, writes Kyle, remind the audience that it can be difficult to pierce through the distractions and arrive at the truth.
I'm innocent, you know that, right?
Barbie. David Heyman, Margot Robbie, Tom Ackerley, and Robbie Brenner, producers.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
Delightful to look at with its Skittles colour scheme and visual jokes about living in a land of dolls, Barbie begins in idyllic, silly Barbie land, where many iterations of the doll live happily in their dream houses.
This is the best day ever.
It is the best day ever. So is yesterday, and so is tomorrow, and every day from now until forever. Do you guys ever think about dying?
But it's when stereotypical Barbie starts experiencing morbid thoughts as though infected by human doubt that the movie turns into a kind of reverse Wizard of Oz.
You can go back to your regular life, or you can know the truth about the universe. The choice is now yours.
The first one, the high heel.
You have to want to know, okay? Do it again.
At one point in the film, Will Ferrell, who plays the CEO of Mattel, muses, remember Proust Barbie? That did not sell well. It's the film's second reference to the French modernist novelist, writes Kyle, and its makers would have been well advised to heed their own joke and question the wisdom of stuffing this fantasy comedy with references to the mastectomy, IRS troubles of the doll's creator, gynecology, the mass devastation of indigenous people by smallpox. And this comes up many times, irrepressible thoughts of death.
No, I won't let you do just one appendectomy.
But I'm a man.
But not a doctor.
Can I talk to a doctor?
You are talking to a doctor.
And I need a clicky pen?
No.
A sharp thing?
No.
There he is. Doctor!
Somebody get security.
The Holdovers. Mark Johnson, producer.
Sir, I don't understand.
That's glaringly apparent.
I can't fail this class.
Oh, don't sell yourself short, Mr. Coates. I truly believe that you can.
Paul Hunnam teaches ancient civilizations at an elite boys' boarding school in 1970 New England. He's a small man with small ambitions, and if he ever pulls it all together, he intends to write something on Carthage, a monograph. That's academic speak for long article, which is less than a book. You can't even dream a whole dream, can you? Says an observer.
Go ahead, tell me something about me. Something negative.
Something negative about you?
Sure. Just one thing.
Just one.
Such poignant revelations about life's losers, writes Kyle, are the specialty of Sideways director Alexander Payne, who has brought back his leading man, Paul Giamatti, to play the churlish and abrasive teacher in The Holdovers.
Captain, my captain.
Sit down, Mr. Anderson.
It's the anti-Dead Poets Society.
Need I remind you that it is not my fault that you are stuck here? Do you think I want to be babysitting you? Oh, no, I was praying to the God I don't even believe in that your mother would pick up the phone or your father would arrive in a helicopter or a submarine or a flying fucking saucer to take you
dead.
Instead of being a hero to his students, Paul Hunnam is hated for being a callous martinet. Formerly a promising young talent, spends his lonely days drinking, looking at pornography and being generally exhausting. Also, he smells like fish. No group of boys is ever going to stand on desks for him, except possibly to call out, "Oh has-been, my has-been."
You're gonna get me fired.
This is your Rubicon.
Do not cross
The Rubicon.
Killers of the Flower Moon. Dan Friedkin, Bradley Thomas, Martin Scorsese, and Daniel Lupi, producers.
You know, you got nice color skin. What color would you say that is?
My color.
Robbie Robertson's musical score backing Killers of the Flower Moon relies heavily on a low, endlessly repeated guitar or bass note that mirrors the soul-deadening events on screen.
The land had oil on it. Black gold. Money flows freely here now.
I do love that money, sir.
We're in 1920s Osage territory in Oklahoma, where after an oil discovery, the Native Americans are being systematically swindled, robbed, and murdered by white people.
When this money started coming, we should have known it came with something else. They're like buzzards circling our people. We're still warriors.
Director Martin Scorsese repeats so many variations on this depressing mistreatment, writes Kyle, that experiencing the film is akin to being locked in a room with a pair of soulless sadists.
Expecting a miracle to make all this go away. You know they don't happen anymore.
Maestro. Bradley Cooper, Steven Spielberg, Fred Berner, Amy Durning, and Christy McCosco Krieger, producers.
If summer doesn't sing in you, then nothing sings in you. And if nothing sings in you, then you can't make music. Something she told me.
Hello, I'm Lenny.
Hello, Felicia.
Leonard Bernstein was a towering musical figure and a complicated man. Netflix's Maestro has a great deal to say about that latter characterization, but surprisingly little to say about the former, writes Kyle.
He can be the first great American conductor.
There's a price for being in my brother's orbit, you know that.
In part, that's a matter of necessity. As with any creative genius, the most important ingredient, thinking, can't be rendered on screen. And who wants to go to the cinema to watch a film about a man sitting behind a desk writing? Moreover, as depicted by writer, director, producer, star Bradley Cooper in an engaging recreation, Bernstein had a trait that the film makes into highly cinematic drama. He was promiscuously bisexual.
Let's not make excuses. He didn't fail me.
It's Felicia.
No, it's my own arrogance. To think I could survive on what he could give.
Oppenheimer. Emma Thomas, Charles Roven, and Christopher Nolan, producers.
We had a moment where it looked like the chain reaction from an atomic device might never stop.
Are we saying there's a chance that when we push that button, we destroy the world?
Chances are near zero.
Near zero.
What do you want for theory alone?
Zero would be nice.
It's a new world, someone remarks, as J. Robert Oppenheimer develops the atomic bomb in Oppenheimer.
Detonator charged.
A brainy and breathless exploration of the rise and fall of a physicist dubbed, not without reason, the most important man who ever lived.
We're in a race against the Nazis. And I know what it means if the Nazis have a bomb.
Mr. Nolan's utterly enthralling film lasts for 3 hours, writes Kyle, but despite being as talky as a math seminar, it crackles, hurtles and whooshes, generating more suspense and excitement than anything found in the alleged climaxes of the recent superhero pictures, which owe much to the director's Batman films.
We've got one hope. All America's industrial might and scientific innovation connected here. A secret laboratory. Keep everyone there until it's done.
Adapting American Prometheus, the Pulitzer Prize-winning biography by Kai Bird and Martin J. Sherwin, Mr. Nolan has thought intensely about how to turn arcane material, not one person in 100 could explain Oppenheimer's method, into a popcorn movie despite it containing only one spectacular scene.
You are the man who gave them the power to destroy themselves. And the world is not prepared.
Past lives, David Hinojosa, Christine Vachon, and Pamela Koffler, producers.
There's a word in Korean, 인연. It means providence or fate.
Kyle didn't review Past Lives, which is described as a romantic drama written and directed by Celine Song in her feature film debut.
What a good story this is. Childhood sweethearts who reconnect 20 years later and realize they were meant for each other. In the story, I would be the evil white American husband standing in the way of destiny.
Shut up.
Nora and Hai Sung, two deeply connected childhood friends, are rest apart after Nora's family emigrates from South Korea. 2 decades later, they're reunited in New York for one fateful week as they confront notions of destiny, love, and the choices that make a life in this heart-rending modern romance.
Makes me feel like I can't live without you.
뭐가? 그냥 너랑 얘기하는 거?
Poor Things. Ed Guiney, Andrew Lowe, Yorgos Lanthimos, and Emma Stone, producers.
This is Bella. Bella, this is Mr. McCandles.
Hello, Bella.
Sumptuous, dazzling, and glorious seem barely adequate descriptors for Poor Things, a cinematic fable of self-discovery.
She's an experiment.
Good evening.
Her brain and her body are not quite synchronized. But she's progressing at an accelerated pace.
Writer-director Yorgos Lanthimos, the dryly weird Greek filmmaker who's mostly been forced to work on skimpy budgets before, has at last been given the resources to show off everything he can do, writes Kyle. Bridging science and fairy tales, the story is set in a Jules Verne-inflected London, chugging with confidence about the future of technology, continuing a centuries-long conversation between the cynical rationality underlying Voltaire's Candide and the demented prophecy of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Where did she come from?
I shall. For it is a happy tale.
Willem Dafoe, despite a dodgy Scottish accent, excels as a Dr. Frankenstein-like professor and surgeon, whose ward, an orphaned young woman named Bella, is suffering from an initially unexplained cognitive impairment, but recovering rapidly. As played by Emma Stone in a daring and wide-ranging and outlandishly entertaining performance, Bella enters the pantheon of the most memorable heroines in screen history.
Wedderburn became much weepy and sweary when he discovered my whoring.
I find myself merely jealous of the men's time with you, rather than any moral aspersion against you. It is your body, Bella Baxter, yours to give freely.
I generally charged 30 francs.
Well, that seems low.
The zone of interest. James Wilson, producer.
Pool parties, gardening pleasures, horseback rides. Occasionally, a servant brings a delightful little treasure, such as a fur coat. It's quite delightful being the wife of the Auschwitz commandant. Such is the premise of Jonathan Glazer's staggering The Zone of Interest, a Holocaust movie unlike any other. Confining itself almost entirely to events just outside the extermination camp, where a senior SS officer and his family enjoy life in a charming little villa, it depicts no violence and barely even shows any Jews being menaced. Yet it's lacerating, a masterclass in how to show without showing, writes Kyle. There you go, all 10 Best Picture nominees in a little over 15 minutes. If you'd like to take a deeper dive into any of those films, you'll find links to each of the reviews in the body text to this video.